of thousands. So we are mourning with you today. Genocide, the unforgivable crime, has been wrought against so many of us indigenous folk. This is the bloodied history that colonizers tried to cover up with stories like Thanksgiving and Israeli independence. And today we reject those lies. Today, as a Palestinian, let me tell you our truth. This ongoing genocide is more than the heart-wrenching stories that you've heard. It is more than Hind Rajab's call for help, Rafat al-Harir's last poem, and Sha'ban al-Dalul's tent in fire. Genocide is the theft of all that is familiar. It is the grotesque and unnatural contortion of what we once called life. 20 kilograms of human remains in a plastic shopping bag. Bucking hamstrings of prisoners meant to stand naked for days on end without food. An ambulance shredded and left in the street like a meatball of entrails, mechanical. The low hum of drones swarming like autonomous hornets in your eardrums. Genocide is manufactured. It is the machinery of colonialism that makes a mockery of natural life. Zionism has produced an unrelenting mourning that will settle into our DNA for generations. But in this gathering, I am reminded it need not be that way. We deserve so much more than this capitalist Armageddon. Today, I feel in my body that I am surrounded by the folk who stare into this machinery of death and who extend a hand into the gears to hold ours as Palestinians. To say we have been here too, and we will only emerge together. My father always reminds me that we Palestinians can never make the mistake of thinking that we are the only peoples to endure and resist this mechanism of colonial oppression. For if we believe that we suffer alone, we will never rise together. So when I grieve the tens of thousands of children in Gaza who are orphans, I mourn the generations of native children who have been stolen from their homes. Because, to borrow from Nick Este's words, the theft of the young is the theft of the future. When I hear of the martyrs whose bodies are stolen by the cruel Zionist regime, my heart aches for every murdered and missing indigenous person. And when I weep for Walid Da'a, the now martyred Palestinian political prisoner, I know that with my tears I must demand freedom for Leonard Peltier. To be indigenous is to be held a space in the front lines of the fight for liberation. It is the space that is ours if we promise to commit to it, to study our history. Our Palestinian struggle against colonialism is a century old. We resisted first the British with the Great Peasant Revolt, the popular strikes and guerrilla attacks. Then we resisted the Zionists, expanding the mass character of our struggle and the tactics for over 76 years after. We Palestinians have tried all manner and forms of resistance, all legitimate and glorious genres of intifada, endeavors to shake off the shackles of colonialism. This is a resistance that is alive and well today. It is a resistance that tears down walls. It is a resistance that stops Merkava in its tracks. It is a resistance that forces the occupier to retreat. Our diasporic Palestinian resistance is the focused work of targeting war profiteers like the shipping and logistics company Maersk that our organization is targeting. And just this month, we exposed their treachery and got Spain to reject 3 ships carrying military cargo for Israel. Our movement is creating chaos for one of the most profitable corporations in the world, and that is a crisis we will only escalate through our organizing. The youth in the Palestinian diaspora are stepping in to our legacy as indigenous resistors. It is a legacy that spans not only that century of Palestinian resistance, but the half millennia of indigenous resistance. And if ever I waver in my confidence of our path, I remember that we inherit the legacies of Lakota warriors, of Taino resistors, of Wampanoag champions. This summer, I connected with comrades from Hui Aloha Aina, and these Hawaiian organizers shared with me a chant in their struggle that passes on the message of a prophecy. An intifada where the masses will come together and strike at the heart of empire. And I don't know about you, but every day I feel closer to that revolution. Our indigeneity is a promise. It is an untouchable bond with our land. Zionists have demolished my family's home. They have stolen my cousins. They have appropriated our culture, but they cannot steal my relationship with my land. They cannot take away the texture of my hair under the Mediterranean sea breeze. They cannot rob the taste of olive oil from my lips. They cannot appropriate the way my grandmother makes sage tea to cure all evils. The indigenous freedom struggle is a long, middling road, but it has one destination: home. And as we traverse this long, middling road, we must choose every day to refuse despair. Because as indigenous people, we, all of us, we know 2 things. First, that our indigeneity is our sacred and eternal inheritance of our relation with our lands. And second, that colonialism is the obstacle in our path to that prophecy. And so my relatives here today, that leaves us with no choice but to end colonialism. This is not the decolonization of academic polemics, nor is it the decolonization of an NGO's mission statement, nor is it the decolonization of white people's veneer land acknowledgements. This is the decolonization of the Fedayeen, of the Zapatistas, of the American Indian movement. This is the decolonization that is threatening world order. Our decolonization is a global people's resistance that will not stop until the sunrise of freedom warms every inch of this earth from the long night of repression. So let them try. Let them try to steal our children, to push us from our homes, to repress our culture. They will fail because they are in our way. The future of collective freedom is our future of prophecy and our promise. Because nothing can stop this rising tide of resistance. Because the land knows her stewards, and we vow to her that we will return victorious.
Okay. So we're going to have our section on Leonard Peltier in just a minute. Fawaz, I want to call you to the stage. You had a quick couple of words about the Boston Coalition for Palestine. Also, Tailing Mora, if you're here, if you could just check into the blue tent that is behind me. So we're going to hear from Fawaz, and then Charlie Nauru and Herbie, just stand by.
How are we doing today? I stand here today, and for some feeling, a couple of years ago I was in Ashkelon, which is my homeland, home city, and it just feels exactly the same being among my people on occupied land. Many years ago when I came to the United States, I met an indigenous friend, and I always made sure whatever I do is being approved and accepted and celebrated by my indigenous friends, and I went to many powwows and things like that for it. Something stuck to my head. A friend of ours, his grandmother, always talked about how people try to do things and be good, and to be good descendant for our good ancestors. And whenever we say something, she looked at us and she said, it is more important to be a good ancestor. So I'm going to make this fast and clear. No matter how good of a descendant you are today and always, please strive to become the good ancestor for generations to come, in solidarity for a free world, starting with a free Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you to Fawaz. Now I'm going to call up Charlie Nauru and Herb Waters, who are going to give us words introducing the longest serving political prisoner here in the United States, Leonard Peltier, and then the reading of the statement.
Hahom Janglu. Daigwe di ituno kena dia ono diri Chalinaru Borikeng Taino Daka, United Confederation of Taino People, member of the Guainia Taino tribe. Taino Daka, Kawai Daka, Kawai Daka, Kawai Daka. Good day, my brothers and sisters. My name is Chalinaru Dones. I am Borikeng Taino. Borikeng, as you know it, colonized Puerto Rico. We like to still call it Borikeng. I am the Massachusetts Liaison Officer to the United Confederation of Taino People and a member of the Guainia Taino tribe, and I am so happy to be here once again to address this Leonard Peltier. Now I also want to say Nito Kakuhu, because we're all out here in the rain and this rain is cleansing. Nito Kakuhu, water is life. Water is life. Mini Wichoni. Nito Kakuhu, however you say it, water is life. I am here to explain Native political prisoner Leonard Peltier's case to you. After that, we will hear a statement directly from Leonard himself. Now, during this time, if you feel compelled, please go online and donate to his defense committee. It's free, LeonardPeltierNow.org. So do it now, do it later, do it yesterday, but do it. Free Leonard Peltier, yes! Leonard Peltier is now 80 years old. For nearly 5 decades, indigenous activists, organizers, and allies have rallied behind the fight to free Leonard Peltier. Numerous constitutional violations took place throughout Leonard Peltier's trial, during which he experienced obvious racism. He has had ongoing health concerns, and his status as an elder is fragile. He should have been released years ago. It's hard to fathom and grasp how we're all once again in Plymouth for another year, advocating for his release at another National Day of Mourning. A member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Ojibwe, Peltier is a political prisoner in a country that denies it has political prisoners. He has been incarcerated since his arrest in 1976. Leonard has dedicated his life to standing up for and defending Native people. After a shootout occurred on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in 1975, Leonard Peltier was framed up for the deaths of 2 FBI agents there. It has long been known that the prosecutors of his case engaged in misconduct, including the fact that the FBI concealed ballistics reports that showed Leonard's gun did not fire those shots. This miscarriage of justice is why there are prosecutors, including former U.S. Attorney James Reynolds, who have asked President Biden to free Leonard. Reynolds was the lead prosecuting attorney on Leonard's trial and appeal, and even he came to understand that the trial and conviction were unjust and racist. Leonard suffers from multiple medical conditions and has frequently experienced medical neglect in prison. He is now the longest surviving political prisoner in the entire United States. He didn't choose this martyrdom of his life. He was taken against his will and is incarcerated by a system that was built and created to destroy Native, Black, and Latino people. His freedom directly ties to indigenous demands for liberation. Peltier had a parole hearing last June after more than a decade since the previous hearing, and once again he was turned down by the Federal Bureau of Prisons.